It's lame.
It's both bogus and lame. We have too many pop culture references. Okay, so day 68. And I am getting so much out of your Chris's Bible.
My Bible. Psycho-Cybernetics.
that I thought I would share today. It's okay.
It's a sharing day.
But we laugh a lot. Now everyone hug and share a secret. I'm afraid of moths.
It is some sharing. I'm also trying to pet the dog at the same time. Last night I was reading the chapter on personality and personality types. And I came across a little section and I was highlighting like a crazy person. Anyway, so the part that I highlighted was about self-acceptance. And I'll just read a little bit of what I highlighted. It says, no real success or genuine happiness is possible until a person gains some degree of self-acceptance. I was like, oh my God, I gotta highlight that. And then so he actually really goes on to talk about what is self-acceptance. So self-acceptance means accepting and coming to terms with ourselves now, just as we are, with all our faults, weaknesses, shortcomings, errors, as well as our assets and strengths. Self-acceptance is easier, however, if we realize that these negatives belong to us. They are not us. I was like, it's crazy.
Well, can I add some context first? Because I think earlier in the book, he talks about how that you cannot, because of your brain, we've talked about your brain being a goal-setting machine, that if you don't believe in yourself.
I don't believe it.
That is why you fail.
If you think you're a bad person, you actually cannot be a good person. That your brain will actually not allow you to be a good person because you programmed it that way. Mm-hmm. And it's not going to take anything that, and it's kind of weird to talk about it like but like your brain is not going to allow any information that contradicts what it feels about itself.
Believes to be true.
Yes.
Okay, so that's kind of what we were talking about earlier together.
Yes.
But I wanted to bring that to the health journey type stuff that we're talking about here, because then that means that if you continually tell yourself, I can't do this,
you can't.
You can't, and you won't.
You actually can't.
And you can't. I just thought that is, it's so much more mental than I think people even realize. And of course it is, like, we talk about other things like macros and exercise and all of that stuff. All of it's part of it. Mm-hmm. But if you really don't accept where you are right now, and also what you talked about before, the nostalgia for the future.
Nostalgia for the future.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because he does go on to say that we can always learn more, perform better, behave better, but the actual self is necessarily imperfect. So you're not perfect. And throughout life, it is always moving toward an ideal goal, but never arriving. It is never completed and final, but always in a state of growth. So that's our very, I don't know how famous it is, but Matthew McConaughey. He really talks about who his hero is, right?
Right.
And it's him 10 years in the future.
So you see, every day, every week, every month, and every year of my life, my hero's always 10 years away. I'm never going to be my hero. I'm not going to attain that. I know I'm not. And that's just fine with me because that keeps me with somebody to keep on chasing.
So I love that. And then the last thing I highlighted, don't hate yourself because you're not perfect. You have a lot of company. No one else is either. And those who try to pretend they are kidding themselves. Which is kind of like social media. It's like pretty much everything. So I just thought, what a beautiful thing on a health journey. It's not even weight loss. It's not any of that stuff. It's really this health, and it's mind, and body and spirit or soul or whatever, whatever you wanna call it, I guess. It's so important for you to just, and I keep going like prayer hands, namaste. It's all my years of yoga. So it all fits together, and it just made so much sense to me when he's talking about like accepting yourself the way you are now. When I was reading that, I was like, this is so important for me that I'm sure that it's really important for other people.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's, not only accepting yourself now, but understanding that you can always work towards something better too.
You should always be.
That you should always be. Right, exactly. That you can and you should be. But it starts with the belief.
Yeah.
And
that's where the nostalgia for the future comes in, because if you're constantly looking back at what you were, you will never be able to go forward, because you're constantly going to use that as an excuse to say, well, I've always been overweight, so whatever, and your brain goes, okay, got it.
Right.
We're going to always be overweight. And it's not until and it's not easy. Believe me, I'm not there yet. I'll be the first to admit it, that, I'm definitely a work in progress here with all of this, because it is big mindset. And, I've for a long time have, gave up on myself, gave up on diets, gave up on this, gave up on that. And, I think that it's all because I did not have a positive self-image of myself.
Allow myself to introduce myself.
Right.
Let me introduce myself.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, so I was just going to say, because you've read the book, obviously.
Yes.
Everybody needs to read this book. But that's another thing that I was thinking of, when he says, yet what do most of us do? We destroy our self-confidence by remembering past failures and forgetting all about past successes.
Right.
And really like the remembering that you are not your mistakes. Like that's not who you are.
Yeah, they belong to you, but they are not you.
That's what it is. They belong to you. So, and I just thought that was so appropriate for anything that you do.
Yeah.
But especially when you're going on
I'm going on an adventure!
This is really, and I know you teased me in some of the earlier videos about like, oh, it's a weight loss thing. And it has been, but at the same time, it's just been a lot of like discovering lots of stuff about me and about you, and
I think that's part of
it together.
It's part of the process.
Yeah,
it's the
everybody
journey.
needs to read this.
Yes,
it's really good.
All right, so we'll talk tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right.